UFC 254 is in the bag. We just saw Khabib demolish Justin Gaethje with a second round submission. And he got on the mic after, and among a load of things, he did say, one thing I want from the UFC is on Tuesday, I want to be put to the top of the UFC pound for pound ranking, dislodging John Jones. My question to you is, does he deserve that? Is he the pound for pound best fighter in the world?
Above John Jones?
Above everyone, above them all.
Ever,
Yes.
yes, 100%. The way he beats people, you just cannot match it. Just at the moment, yes, because Jones has been inactive, hasn't fought anyone you'd say is a proper contender over the last few years, other than DC. And there's obviously the question marks over his last fight with DC. And then the way Khabib beats people, Gaethje, McGregor, and Poirier just absolutely smoked him, and all three of them could be champions in their own right. I think it's just absolutely outrageous how good he is.
Okay, Rob, define to me what pound for pound means.
The most skilled fighter.
What
all round most skilled fighter.
Regardless of weight division.
Regardless of weight division, yeah.
See, I don't think he's
pound for pound specifically. I believe pound for pound specifically means like if you weigh up who they specifically beat, yes, regardless of weight division. If we were to put you in any weight division and to see the people you beat, who would be the best?
I don't think he's had enough quality opponents to be regarded as the pound for pound great.
Khabib.
John Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because if you compare his fights to John Jones, like if you go back like 5 years or so, John Jones was hitting some big names. But go back 5 years with Khabib, like a lot of the people I won't recognise in his record, especially even in the UFC, I won't recognise a lot of his fights.
Admittedly, the one thing holding Khabib back is he hasn't fought enough people. There's still like arguably Michael Chandler, arguably Tony Ferguson, whereas admittedly someone like GSP, John Jones, Anderson Silva did completely clean out a division. But the thing that gets me for Khabib is just the way he beats people. Just an absolute unstoppable force. Just mauls them.
He's beat someone in every single way. I kind of like that.
Everyone thinks, Jones could have lost to Reyes.
But he never has.
I know he's never lost, but I'm saying the way Khabib beats people in comparison to anyone else just shows how good he is. He could have fought 3-4 more opponents and it would be the exact same outcome every time, regardless of who he fought.
He's a lightweight though. That happens more as divisions do matter. Like it does matter.
Yeah, lightweight is the most stacked division, and it has been for a while, and pretty much everyone agrees on that.
So it's the most stacked division, and yet he's fought 3 killers.
No, I'm just saying his lot. So who did he fight before? So before Michael Johnson, RDA. Who else has he fought in that little time span?
He's skipped some of the biggest killers in that division.
Okay, Ferguson is the one he skipped at the time. I think who else would you consider killer?
I think, he's nothing to do with Dan Hooker, nothing to do with Paul Felder, nothing to do with
Charles Oliveira. I think it's just the fact Khabib is that much above everyone, and then people like McGregor, Poirier, Gaethje are just a bit below him, but that much above people like Dan Hooker, Kevin Lee, people like that. I think if Khabib, anyone else in the top 10, Khabib will absolutely destroy, whether it was 2 years ago, whether it's in 2 years' time. I think the way he beats people is just unbelievable.
Division is stacked with a lot of people on the same level, right? But how many really that's why he stands that far ahead, I guess. I'm also putting to the fact the reason you say pound for pound, because if you was to put Jones in McGregor's category, or to match weight, or to put Khabib in, let's say, Jones's category, who would win? That's the thing. That's how you have to think about it to put pound for pound.
Exactly. So if they're the same weight, who would win? And I actually think Khabib. Well, no, I don't know if they were the same weight that Jones would necessarily win, but I do think that there are people in the UFC who have the skill set that would be able to possibly beat Khabib if they're the same level. I just don't. I believe Kamaru Usman could beat Khabib. I think he's
the same way.
I think it's a bit unfair to compare against in this retrospect, because I feel like the lower down the division you go, the more technical the fighters are. So technically, they're the more skilled fighter. Whereas when you get up to the heavyweight division, it is pretty much just like powerful.
Say that to John Jones. What are you talking about? Say that to John Jones.
There are exceptions. I'm just saying, like,
the exception is the greatest of all time. The exception is the best fighter that the UFC has ever seen, which is Jonathan Bones Jones.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying if that was the case, like, in that case, it would just be John Jones, and every other pound for pound ranking would just be the lower ranked divisions if they were the better fighters. Like, the lower down division you are, the more technically better fighters you get.
No, I absolutely don't agree, because like Figueiredo does not have the same skill set or anywhere near as good a skill set as Robert Whittaker. I think Robert Whittaker does everything better away from the size. Robert Whittaker is extremely fast, is extremely endurable. Like Figueiredo, to me, just seems like a power puncher in a small division. He seems like Conor McGregor when Conor McGregor was running through featherweights.
Well, okay then. So name me one current champion which you don't think is technically better than the current Stipe Miocic heavyweight champion.
A champion that isn't as good technically as Stipe Miocic at the moment.
Yeah.
No, I do get what Chris is saying, and to be honest, it's because in the heavier positions, because when you become bigger, there's a bigger
Volkanovski's technically great
between different people, so you can get quite high up just by knocking people out.
Yeah.
Whereby in the lower divisions, you rarely have knockout power, or at least you don't as much as in the higher positions. So you can't really get to the top positions without displaying multitude of techniques.
Yeah, I think it depends on the technique. Like Khabib's technique is head and shoulders above anyone else when it comes to grappling.
Crazy.
Whereas someone like Stylebender is head and shoulders above everyone else striking. Whereas Miocic is just an all-round fighter, a bit like Rob Whittaker. They're just all-round fighters, and John Jones probably a level above everyone, but an all-round fighter. But I still think Khabib would beat him if they hypothetically were the same weight class.
Okay. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. I'm gonna go round one by one and say top 3 pound for pound all time. Rob, go.
Khabib, GSP, Anderson Silva.
Oh, the disrespect! Shit. Chris, what are you saying?
GSP, Khabib, John Jones.
Wow, winner.
Jones, Silva, Khabib, yeah.
How can you not say GSP?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Because I prefer Anderson Silva.
Ready?
Come on, Jake.
Jones, Khabib, Henry Cejudo.
No,
I'm not joking.
Fair enough.
I'm not joking.
Why are you not joking?
You can't just give shit about Khabib not clearing out divisions and fighting enough people of the quality when Cejudo literally ducked in and out for like 3 or 4 fights.
Because Henry Cejudo jumps weights. Henry Cejudo's calling out Alex Volkanovski. Henry Cejudo's destroyed people. He's destroyed the best fighter one of the best fighters that's ever been walked the UFC, which is Demetrius Johnson. Yeah. He beat him in a fight. He also
lost to him.
Yeah, but this was before. But everyone's lost. Anderson Silva lost. GSP
Khabib
lost.
hasn't lost.
But I know. But he's fought a load of cans. We just agreed he's fought a load of cans. When Cejudo went through his glow up, essentially, he became someone who was impossible to defeat. And I do believe he's going to be the first 3-weight UFC champion of all time.
If he is, fair play. You've called it, but.
No, you never know. GSP might still drop down to lightweight.
That's the thing.
He could be a 3-weight champion in that division.
Who's going to do it first? It's either GSP or it's Henry Cejudo, and it's no one in between.
How the fuck can you say John Jones is better than those people?
What?
Obviously.
All right, okay.
The reason that I'm holding back for John Jones is that he hasn't probably retired yet. If he went up to heavyweight and cleaned that out, I'd be like, fair enough.
But he hasn't lost, and he's just beat everyone.
He hasn't lost. He's been going for 10 years, mate.
He's beat every single person.
Everyone.
On and off, the competition in the light heavyweight division does not match the people GSP, Anderson Silva,
He called me
what are you talking?
He beat heavyweight champion.
Hold on, Rob. What are you saying that he hasn't beat? He hasn't beat his opponents convincingly, is what you're saying, essentially.
As convincingly, yeah.
Right. Okay. GSP. What was his last fight before Bisping?
Dodgy decision against Hendricks.
dodgy decision. He lost that decision, just like John Jones potentially lost that against Dominic Reyes.
Right.
GSP has had more dodgy performances. He was being beaten by BJ Penn in their first fight. He got knocked out by Matt Serra. Like, he's had more dodgy. It's just recency bias. GSP
He was
is
also-
no way.
The reason I say GSP is because welterweight, and he is the only person to come back, go up a weight, knock out Bisping or submit Bisping.
Bisping. I'm
Hey,
sorry, mate.
title holder
Bisping
there,
is
mate.
trash.
Put some respect on his
Bisping
name.
is trash. What are you talking about?
Put some respect on that name. Bisping,
Absolutely
title
not.
holder. One defense as well.
Disgraceful, Jake. He is not trash.
No,
He
okay,
beat Anderson
Bisping is not
Silva.
trash.
Bisping's
But
so good.
No, this
He
is-
beat Anderson Silva.
You should not have beat Anderson Silva.
No,
And
this
did
is-
beat Anderson Silva.
One of his last 8 fights was something stupid, and it was a questionable decision.
I'm sorry. GSP is. He's very, very good. Maybe top 5, but there's
Okay.
no way he is better than John Jones.
I think the way you can look at it, on paper, you'd say GSP is the best of all time because of what he's achieved. Would you not? Purely on paper, not to do with, you just read just like win, decision, whatever it was, double world champion, 9 total defenses. On paper, you probably would say he's the best of all time. Would you not?
Okay. I'd say, maybe.
Like I said, that's the way I'm looking at GSP. Was Khabib pure performance, the way he mauls people, and Anderson Silva the same in his prime, where he just absolutely just destroyed everyone.
Why does Daniel Cormier not get mentioned in the same breath as Georges St. Pierre with that logic?
Because
Because he lost.
there's always that one person who's better than him just at the time.
What? And who's that?
John Jones. So if I put John
Point.
Jones in there, why would I put these
Exactly.
in there?
So John Jones is number 1. GSP is below Daniel Cormier, is what I'm saying.
No,
Oh, that's deep.
Honestly.
No, because DC
He's lost to
also
Moses
lost
twice
the
and John Jones twice. I mean, fair, obviously they are amazing, but that doesn't.
heavyweight.
He
Like
is one of
he
the
was,
best
he
of
was,
all time.
he
I'd
lost
say
at
top
heavyweight
10.
twice.
Yeah.
Top
all right.
10.
Yeah, who?
absolutely
John Jones?
minimum.
I easily
DC.
fourth. I think he's above Anderson Silva. I put Anderson Silva fifth. I put John
retired
Jones
when he broke
fourth.
his leg, he'd be the best of all time. I think that's be a common thing. But I think
Yeah,
people
but then he would have
forget.
lost his last 2 fights.